Hi everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card using our simple floral set and our fabulous word die. First we're going to start off by heat embossing the outline images or the outline florals in the set, and I'm just starting off by stamping them in Versamark ink onto some white cardstock. Then we're going to spoon some gold glitter embossing powder over the stamped florals, and then I'm going to take my heat gun and then just melt all the embossing powder, and we get a really beautiful glittery gold finish. Once I finish heat embossing, I'm going to take my zig markers and I'm just going to color in each floral. I'm going to go in with my lightest marker around the edges of the flower, and then I'm going to take the darker marker and just color in the center, and then I'm going to take the lighter one again and blend the dark and the light together. And I'm going to do that with the rest of the florals. Now I'm just going in direct from my marker to the paper without any water added. These zig markers, you can watercolor with them, but I'm just going direct to paper with no water, and you get a really vibrant result. To ensure that you get some good blending with your zig markers, you want to work kind of quickly, but I'm just speeding up my video here so that you're not sitting here for a while. So you want to work quickly, but not as super fast as I'm going right now because I did speed up the video. For today's project, I'm revisiting an older stamp in our collection. The Simple Floral set was released in our second release, and I really love this stamp set because it's perfect for coloring, but the set also comes with the solid images which you can stamp inside the outline images or by itself, so it's a very versatile set. Now I'm coloring in the freesia outline image, and I'm just going in with a deep orange and later with a deep red. And then I'm going to blend the markers together. The freesia stamp also comes with a stamen stamp, which I'm going to heat emboss in the same gold glitter embossing powder later in this video. Once I finish all of my coloring, I'm going to take the coordinating dies for this set, and I'm just going to die cut each of the florals. Now the ink on my colored panel is not yet dry, so before I run it through my Big Shot machine with the dies, I'm going to put a piece of scratch paper over my stamped and colored panel so that the ink doesn't get onto the top of my top cutting plate. If you didn't put the scratch paper, some of the ink would have gotten on the top cutting plate, and then the next time that you die cut something, it would have transferred some of that ink onto your new project. Next, I'm going to put down 2 lines of foil tape onto some cardstock. It doesn't have to be white cardstock, it's just what I had on hand. So after I put down the 2 lines, I'm going to use the 2 leaves that you see here from the same Simple Florals coordinating die set, and I'm just going to die cut several leaves from the foil tape. And I'm going to die cut about 10 leaves altogether. You can also use the leaf dies from our coordinating wild peony dies and our petal cut peony dies as well. Next, I'm going to put down 2 more lines of gold foil tape, but I'm going to make sure that they're right next to each other because we're going to be die cutting our fabulous word die on this portion of our taped panel. So I got really great results using this foil tape technique to get a foiled sentiment. I didn't need a laser printer. All I needed was some foil tape and some cardstock and a word die. And the results are quite fabulous, if I may say so myself. Next, I'm going to take 2 rectangle stitch dies and die cut an A2 size card panel. Then I'm going to take a top folding horizontal card base, and I'm just going to lay my die cut panel over it. Then I'm going to pencil in the outline of the window onto my card base so that I know exactly where to blend. I'm going to go in with my Peach Blossom dye ink, and I'm just going to blend towards the bottom of that window. After I finish with the Peach Blossom, I'm going to go in and blend some Vanilla Frosted Cupcake dye ink. Then I'm going to go in with my Ballet Slippers dye ink and blend some of the light pink onto the top of the window. I'm blending each adjacent color into each other so that they blend nicely. After I finish with the Ballet Slippers, I'm going to go back in with my Vanilla Frosted Cupcake to make sure everything is blended nicely. Next, I'm going to just arrange my florals onto my die cut panel because I want to plan the floral arrangement. Now I'm just going to heat emboss the stamen on my freesia using the same gold glitter embossing powder that I used for the florals. I chose to heat emboss the stamen at this point in my project because I wanted to make sure that the freesia was totally dry after I colored it. Since my floral arrangement has already been planned, I'm going to start to adhere them down using a repositionable stamp runner adhesive and also with some dimensional foam tape. I adhered 2 of the florals down directly onto the die cut panel. The next 3 flowers I'm going to pop up with the foam tape. This way you have a little bit of differing dimension and depth to the card. After the flowers are done, I'm going to begin to adhere the foiled leaves. I'm adhering one of the smaller leaves on top of one of the larger leaves to create a pretty leaf cluster. And then I'm going to strategically place them around my floral arrangements. Now I'm not doing that for all of the leaves. As you can see, I am adhering some of the single leaves directly onto the card panel, and I'm even adhering some of the leaves using the foam tape also. So you want to do a mix of both. You want to adhere some directly onto the panel, and you want to pop some up under the flowers. That way you get a little bit more depth and interest to your card. I'm cutting some of my foam squares in half to fit behind the smaller leaves. And you can use your tweezers to help you adjust or manipulate the leaves into the little nooks and crannies of your floral arrangement. Next, I'm going to take some dimensional foam tape and adhere it behind my die cut and stamped floral panel, and I'm going to adhere it onto my blended card base. Next, I'm going to trim some dimensional foam tape into some tiny little strips, and then I'm going to put some of those strips behind my fabulous die cut. Then I'm going to position my fabulous sentiment onto my card panel with my tweezers. After I've positioned it, I'm going to take each end of the die cut and adhere that part down onto my die cut panel with some liquid adhesive. Next, I'm going to white heat emboss my Hello sentiment, which comes from our Hey Foxy set. I heat emboss the sentiment on some black cardstock, and then I trim the sentiment panel. After I finish trimming, I'm going to pop it up onto my project using some foam tape, which I've cut in half. Once I've completed the sentiment, I'm going to adhere down some sequins. I'm using some strawberry margarita sequins, Sit Pretty Pink sequins, and some light amethyst sequins in different sizes. The card is now complete. I thank you for joining me today and for sticking it out with me. I know that this video was a little bit long, but I am very happy with the way this card turned out, and I feel like I say this at the end of every video. But thank you all for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed today's project.